Welcome to Tuesday Night Live with Mechanical Alliance. Yes, this is happening. Tonight, we have F. Bobby down in the lower corner there. He's peeking over his Milwaukee tool bag. And for any of you guys out there that can guess why he has an F in front of his name, and guys, I promise it's not what you think.
We'll send him a keychain.
I wasn't going to go that far, but we're committed now.
Yeah. Nobody's going to figure it out.
No.
There it is right there.
Well, there's one person that might figure it out if they're watching. And if they know who they are, so don't give it away.
Okay, we're not going to give it away. Promise, we're not going to give that stuff away. Tonight, we are talking tools. And yes, I have the Viking helmet and a Harbor Freight hammer because how can you go wrong? You know, guys, like we've teased, bring your favorite tools with you because if that's not your favorite tool is a big orange hammer, we got you covered with the electric ratchets and all the fun stuff. So, welcome. Oh, before we get into this too much further, we got to pay our bills. We got a word from our sponsor. Marv, we've got the My Certified Mechanic program going on, don't we?
We do.
Yes.
We just talked with a great young guy out of St. Louis, Missouri. And we got a couple guys up there in the Boston area, too. And then I got to do a plug for our wage map, too. It's getting some notoriety. But, yeah, we're out there helping guys. We're out there making money, and they're making money. So give us a call. And my tool right here. I was at a VW dealership. I know, I'm sorry. It was a long, long time ago. And the tech taught me there that the pen is mightier than the customer. That's the best tool.
Don't you want to come to warranty work?
Oh, so anyways, for any of you guys watching, drop it in the comments. What's your favorite tool that you've got poking around in the garage, near you, in the shop, in your toolbox? What's the one you always reach for? Not necessarily your most expensive one, but, you know, it could be because that's just fun too. So drop the link drop the comment in there as to what you really enjoy using. Now, we've got one of our most entertaining guests, Bobby. Inmate number 100011763 something. Anyways, Bobby, you've got a lot of great words for us. I'm taking the Viking helmet off because it's getting hot.
Right. So, tools.
Follow that one up.
Yeah. You know. This is one of the, if not the most expensive profession to be in. Not including like schooling, but actually being able to do your job. And the first thing you see when you get into a shop, you're brand new lube tech, you look over at all the techs on the line, and you see all the shiny Snap-on toolboxes, and you say, that's where I want to be. I want to own one of those. I want to have a huge toolbox full of shiny tools. And you'll get there, for sure. But there are a lot of kids right out of school, people who just get into this field, who get roped into, they need the Snap-on stuff. And I'm here to tell you that I own plenty of Snap-on stuff that has been collected over a very long time. And Snap-on may be the best when it comes to certain things. It may not be the best when it comes to certain things. But what you need to learn is what tools will do the job the best and is most affordable for you. Because nobody's coming into this field making $25, $30 an hour changing oil. And if you are, congratulations. But the first thing you end up having to do is buy tools. And that can put you into a lot of debt, especially if you just came out of school and you already have debt there. So hopefully tonight, we'll be able to offer you some alternatives to all of the tool truck brands, or at least that's what I'm going to try to do. I don't know what everyone else is just going to tell you to do. They'll probably just tell you to buy Snap-on. But there are ways of making your money go a lot farther than you might think, and tool companies that you might not know about that, you know, you don't see advertised, you might not see on the tool trucks, although some of the tool trucks are kind of branching out and trying to find more economical brands to sell people because they know that people can't afford all the high-end stuff. So, yeah, that's I guess, kind of what we'll be doing tonight. And I've got tons of favorite tools. Most of them are in my toolbox, which is not sitting right next to me. But I did grab a couple of little things here and there that I'll be like, hey, and I'll hold up and be like, you should buy this. And no, I'm not sponsored by them.
But you'd like to be, right?
I mean, if they want to give me money to hawk their shit, if I actually believe in it, sure.
Absolutely.
That's something else I will be definitely talking about a little bit later.
Fantastic. I apologize, guys. There's some strangeness going on over here on my right, so keep on keeping on. I'll get back to you in just a moment. Nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about. I hope. Could be.
Right. So, Marv, do you want to?
Well, yeah. Let's start out. So, how long have you been doing this, Bobby? Bobby.
20 years this year.
So, your first year, what'd you buy?
Started out with one of those like pre-built Craftsman tool sets that came in those like plastic toolboxes, and literally just started that. Put it on top of the waste oil tank at my first dealership, and went from there.
Cool.
So,
and this last year, who you been buying from?
Let's see. The last thing I think, what did I buy from? I can't even think of the name of it right now.
I know you showed us in the pre-launch Husky, which I said, yeah, they make bicycles.
Yeah. One little random Husky pick here that comes apart.
But you know what? It really is about.
I don't even know where this came from. I would not buy this. This may have just made it into my tools through me accidentally picking it up from somebody else I was working with. I don't know.
Oh, geez. And let's not even talk about the tools we've lost over the decades, right?
So, the joke of losing the 10 millimeter socket, we've all heard it. We've all lived it.
Yeah.
I probably have 3 or 4 of all of yours because I seem to find them instead of losing them.
Oh, wow. So go on eBay. Is that your pitch?
So I was going to save that till later too, but
well, since we're there,
so the way you look at it is what you find is a lot of kids get into this industry. They get sold on a toolbox filled with tools for $3,000. They last about 3 months in the industry and they're like, I can't hack this. I'm not making any money, or I don't like the physical labor involved in it, or it's not as glamorous as I thought it would be, because kids get into this watching stuff on Motor Trend TV or like horsepower TV and stuff like that. Back in my day, like the Power Block, all that stuff. And they get this very like glossy version of what it's like to be an actual tech. And they get in there and they're like, I get covered in oil every day. This is ridiculous. I don't want to do this. And you will find fantastic deals on eBay for lightly used, sometimes even new stuff that, because it might be a more specialized item, these eBay stores are generally they're brick and mortar stores, sometimes pawn shops that are just trying to move inventory. And some of them really, they just want, they know what they gave the person for it. They just want to try to make that back a little bit more. So you will find incredible deals on there. You can find a lot of brokens on there, and I don't recommend doing this.
That are just trying to move inventory.
Yeah, like buying broken stuff and then trying to get it warranted through a dealer. Like, yeah, you can do it. Yeah, they shouldn't question it, but it's a shitty thing to do. So just to throw that out there. Now, on the other hand, if you don't mind getting a tool that's a little bit beat up, that might have somebody else's name scratched into it, something like that, eBay is a fantastic place to save a ton of money on good stuff. You will sometimes have to wait a little bit if it's not something you need immediately. Yeah, okay. If you need it, that day and it happens to be on the Snap-on truck, all right, you don't really necessarily have the choice but to buy it there. But if you can hold off a little bit, maybe wait a couple weeks, there are deals that will pop up and you'll be able to save yourself 50% of what the price is for something that's practically new. And, unless you're into keeping all of your tools pristine, which I am not, I have seen some toolbox tour videos that I'm like, you never use your tools at all. You're a collector. What are you doing? You're putting a slightly used socket into a rack with a bunch of other used sockets. Who cares? Does it do the job? Cool. If you get it and it's really worn out, and they didn't disclose that, or it was a little worse than you thought, or you put it on a bolt and you realize, okay, this is kind of worn out, then yeah, go get it warranted. You're not trying to screw the guy over. You're trying to save yourself some money, which they don't understand because they are also trying to run a business. But there are a lot of tool companies that people sleep on, like Sunex, which I have some right here. This is a 1/4-inch magnetic impact set, which is fantastic for doing like taillights, stuff like that, like where you really need to make sure you don't drop that bolt or nut somewhere inside a dashboard or a door or whatever. And I believe when I picked this up, and I did pick it up 7 or 8 years ago, it was only like $45-$50. Now, Bidenflation has hit us, so you will probably find that things are more expensive than anything that I remember prices on. But yeah, Sunex Impact, which this is my 19. You'll never be able to tell it's a Sunex because they laser etch the name into it, and it is gone because this thing almost looks chrome at this point. I've had this at least 7-8 years. Haven't broken it. You can find Sunex sockets for sale individually if you look. I forget where I used to get them from. A few different places on eBay. Amazon has them. If you want to order from Amazon, if you don't want to give Jeff Bezos any more money, there's tooltopia.com. They're really good. They have a lot of good deals on Milwaukee stuff pretty frequently. But yeah, like we can so easily go into debt. We see the big shiny Snap-on box and all filled with tools, and you're like, it happened to me. I walked on the Snap-on truck the first time, and I was lost. It's just all the shiny everything. But I'm like, I don't have the money. I don't have the money. And I didn't for a long time. I bought a lot of Craftsman. Harbor Freight wasn't around here back then. So it was pretty much just Craftsman stuff. And then slowly I started buying some of the tool truck stuff. Mac was the guy who was around the most for my area. And I bought all my air tools off him. And I still have them all. They all still work. I've upgraded some Astro-Pneumatic stuff. Ingersoll Rand. Ingersoll Rand is probably the best air tool company out there. And I'm sure some people would be like, oh, no, Snap-on's better. It's not. It's just not. I've seen people go through Snap-on guns left and right, and my 2135 IR gun is still kicking. Had that at least 8 years now.
Well, let's see. So you oil it daily or weekly or at all?
I oil it, not daily.
But you do oil it. See, and that's one of the
keys. Once a month.
Yeah.
I go through all my tools and, a couple drops in there. And just like you can ask someone, hey, what oil should I put in my car? And get 75 different answers. Yeah. The same thing can be said for tool oil. Some companies will sell you tool oil. I use ATF. It's never caused a problem.
So Loctite doesn't work?
Sure. In the guy's gun in the bay next to you who constantly leaves a mess on your floor works mint.
Guys,
this is a toolbox lock.
This is a true story. I had a boss when I first started, and he hired me part-time. And the first week I worked 70 hours, and I was scared to death to ask him what full-time was like, right? And we got along really well. And he had a Loctite bottle, and all the stuff was rubbed off. And he had told me when I first started in the industry, he says the oil's over there, so they look a lot alike, right? So. Yep. I've been using that thing for, I don't know, I think I greased the tool up for about a week or two, and one day it locked solid. It was a Loctite. I still laugh about it. It was one of those stupid young guy deals. I did it, whatever.
You didn't know?
And I didn't know, but I'm with you, ATF. I saw guys at the ratchet, they just throw them in the oil bucket, pull it out, wipe it off, and away they'd go. I don't know.
See, I'm a 3-in-1 oil kind of guy. I like the thin stuff just because it works good. I've always got it handy for, as a machinist and fabricator. I'm always drill bits, this, that, grease my hair back.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It didn't work there.
Yeah. Well, it worked for a while until it all fell out.
It worked very well.
Toxic. But yeah, you got to take care of those tools too.
Yeah, that's a big thing that some people don't think about. Is, like a lot of people don't like these snap-on comfort grips because when you get enough oil on them, they tend to swell up and they get very gummy, and I don't have that problem because when I get oil on them, I wipe them off.
What a concept.
Little brake clean, because brake clean is not just for cleaning brakes, it's for cleaning everything.
Bobby, you mentioned eBay. And
yep.
In that, you mentioned pawn shops putting their stuff on eBay to get rid of it.
Yep.
Don't be afraid to go into a pawn shop.
Yeah.
And try. And I'll tell you what, don't pay what they have on their shelf. You go in, you offer half of what they're putting it on the shelf, and chances are you'll get it for that.
Yeah.
If you like haggling, don't go to Tijuana. Go to the ponds.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we got someone that says comfort crap for sure.
Yeah, and I've got these two. I've got every single one of my snap-on ratchets, with the exception of 2 of them. One of them, which is right here, because it came in this kit, is just a basic no handle anything, and I have one hard plastic handle. All the rest of mine are comfort grip, and I've replaced one handle on them. If you take care of them, they work. And I know some people, they just don't like the way they feel in their hand. That's fine. But don't tell me they're crap. Don't tell me that they'll fall apart and fall off, because they don't. Not if you take care of them.
Hey, Bobby, we got Bryce asking, what's everybody's opinion on a Harbor Freight Icon toolbox?
So I actually just went to Harbor Freight today to pick up something else and saw my snap-on roll cart in there for 1/3 the price that I paid for it. And if you took the names off of them and put them right next to each other, you'd never be able to tell.
Yeah.
I think for the money, now, yeah, okay, we get it. The giant Pittsburgh orange hammer that everyone should buy because they're like $4.99 or whatever. They have a lifetime warranty on them. Beat the ever-living crap out of it and bring it back and get another one. Who cares?
Oh, but it'll fall apart and break something.
Oh,
or not.
Or put your eye out.
When you see it start cracking apart, perhaps stop using it. Just a thought. I know it's radical, but Harbor Freight definitely has made a place in our world. And I already know there's probably people typing in the comments, oh, it's Chinese shit, da-da-da-da-da. Okay, fine. It's Chinese shit. Let's get that out. It is Chinese shit. There are certain things you don't buy from Harbor Freight.
Yes.
Their pry bars are absolute garbage. Their ratchets are pretty trash. Now, I've used up to the Pittsburgh Pro. I have not used the Icon, so I can't speak to those. But even the Pittsburgh Pro ratchet, there is so much play in the teeth and the mechanism that you will sit there and you can literally watch the ratchet flex as you're trying to take bolts out. And I went and I bought it because I didn't have access to my toolbox at the time. And I'm like, I got to do a starter on my girlfriend's car. So I went, I got it and put it on there. And I'm like, what the hell? And I'm watching the thing flex. And I'm like, to hell with this. I went and got my snap-on ratchet, I think it was FHLL80, stuck it on there, snapped at it with the first thing. Broke right free, no problem, no twisting, no torquing, no nothing. Just like
I'm glad he said
that's
that.
the difference you see.
I'm glad he said that because I thought he said he was going to go get his 3-foot pry bar to hook on it. The pipe.
So
cheater bars love it.
Funny story about that. I have definitely snapped a snap-on half-inch ratchet in half, right where the comfort grip stops. Because if you've never taken these off, they get markedly thinner when they go into the comfort grip.
Yeah, they do.
And I was trying to get, I think it was a brake caliper bracket bolt off, and it really didn't want to go, and I really wanted it to go, so I stuck a 3-foot pipe on the end of it and snapped the ratchet in half. And I walked up to the Snap-on dealer, and I handed him both pieces, and he's like, how? And I'm like, don't. Just give me another one. And he gave me another one. I was like, don't ask questions you don't want to know the answers to.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's mistreatment of a tool. I should have had a breaker bar on it. I was lazy, and it broke. And if he'd known that I did that, well within his rights to say, hey, you abused this, I'm not going to warranty it.
Yeah.
I would have probably fought him on it a bit, but I would understand where he's coming from.
Yeah. And
don't use a 3/8 when you need a half-inch. Yes, a 3/8 will, if it's a good one, and I will say a Snap-on one because I have done this many times, it will probably take it, but it won't like it.
Yeah.
And see a lot of tools being used for other things, like screwdrivers as pry bars and chisels and picks and pretty much anything other than a screwdriver. We've all done it. I'm guilty of it. However, I've also broken Snap-on screwdrivers actually trying to take screws out. So I don't know. But there are the Harbor Freight for this little hand tools for their impact sockets. My main 3/8 impact sockets are all Harbor Freight. I've had
Pat
them.
Grant just talked about that too. He says he's got the Harbor Freight half-inch impact socket using daily for 6 years.
Yep.
Pat, we believe it.
2015. I've never broken one of them. I've put reducers on them to put them on a half-inch gun. I used them to smash them onto rusty bolts and nuts and everything like that. You guys in Texas, I know you don't know what that is, but it's okay. They take it and they did like no problem. And what does that set cost? $20? I've gotten $20 worth of use out of those sockets. So, when back to the question with the Icon toolboxes, you are going to pay a good amount of money for them. And I have seen comparison videos on YouTube about them. I've gone into the store, I've messed around with it. Obviously, I don't own one, so I can't say how it lasts for any amount of time. But they seem to be pretty solid quality. And for somebody who's willing to spend that kind of money, and that's one of the things where Snap-on gets you, is they get you onto Snap-on credit. And you're only paying me $60 a week, as the interest rate is adding, $80 a week onto your payment. So you're never getting out of debt with it. Yeah. If you go out, take a personal loan, and that's something a lot of people don't think about. You have okay credit, a personal loan from your bank will be a much better interest rate than anything you will put on a credit card or anything you'll get from Snap-on credit.
I think there's a point too, Bobby, where, again, I worked for Snap-on and had done that, but there's a point of you can buy a lot of tools for the difference in that box. So if you're lacking tools, that box isn't going to make you the money.
Nope.
So you got to weigh that out too, because what are they charging now? What's a decent sized box?
I mean, I think the pretty much the standard these days is probably like an Epic 68, somewhere in that ballpark. I think that's like the not the
6800.
the starter box, but the ones they try to push a lot. I don't think I have the fucking Snap-on Toolbox creator that I can get to very quickly. But I think they're $11,000-ish, $12,000 somewhere in
You
that ballpark.
you have to weigh that out. If you can find a box for $6,000, that $5,000 in tools makes you a lot of money. The box doesn't make you money.
No,
it doesn't. It's an ego trip. I've had them, so I'm not condemning
I have
anybody.
one currently. I have a Snap-on KRL 1001.
Yeah.
2-bank. It's from 2007. I've got a roll-on top on it.
Yeah.
That's it.
I
And
had
it
the
served
Rick
me well.
Mears.
I paid for it in cash.
Yeah. I had the Rick Mears. I had the 75th edition. But when I opened my last shop, which was a diagnostic shop, now I'm the owner, I took a whole wall and put cabinets on it for about a third of what it would have cost to buy one toolbox.
Yep.
Just telling you.
It's one of those traps that they get you into.
Yeah.
But at the same time, people just may not have the capital. And there are fantastic deals out there to be had for next to brand new toolboxes. There's a guy out of Delaware called First State Tools. He deals in tons of Snap-on boxes used. He will drive around the country and buy them off people, buy them out of their contract and take them back and then sell them. And you can get a huge discount off there, but you have to either go take a personal loan out for it or you have to pay cash. Like you're paying for it up front, which a lot of people can't do. And that's why the Snap-on, the Mac, Cornwell, Matco, all of these tool truck companies that have these deals with credit cards, or they have Snap-on has their own credit, is so appealing to people because they see, oh, it's just $60-something a week. It's not that bad. And it's like, yeah, it's not that bad until you look at how much it's going to cost you out far enough, that it's like, oh, this is a few years worth of payments plus interest. You buy a box for $5,000, you end up paying $7,000 for it. The Harbor Freight, even their 44-inch boxes, which I have had in the past, I use that thing every day. I had it loaded to the max. When I sold it, it was still in perfect shape. I'd used it for about 2 years every day. I bought the side cab for it and the cabinet, and it worked fine. And that was $400 box, and I'd say it's worth it all day. It's probably like $700 now, but still, you don't need to go super into debt for a box, especially when you're starting. Yeah, I know it's the status symbol. Everyone wants to look like they're a professional technician. You know what? Let your work show them that you're a professional technician. Customers don't give a damn what your toolbox looks like. They want to know their car is fixed right.
Yep.
That's right.
Customers don't usually
Spend
see
that money on training. Spend that money on good tools.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Dave made a great comment. What'd you say, Dave?
The customer doesn't usually see your toolbox.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What difference?
That toolbox is something you look at.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's something that take pride in it. Clean it. You're a weirdo like me, wax the thing.
Never done that.
Don't. It looks really good when it's wax and it's shiny and.
Wow.
But yeah, there will be a time when once you've established yourself and hey, you want to be in the field, that you can go do that and you can spend that money on that box, and that will be the moment you've made it.
The thing that I see too, Bobby, and that I've seen through the years I've walked into shops, it really isn't so much about the box anymore as it is the cart or carts that they have their tools on because of the ease of pulling things up to the rig. So when you really think about it, if I was a young buck getting into the industry, I think knowing what I know now, I would buy me an okay box, but I'd be buying me 2 or 3 stellar carts, one for my diag, one for this, one for that. And I'd roll those because that's efficiency right there. I think you're better served that way. What's your thoughts?
I 100% agree with that because I have one. I have the thing that I saw in Harbor Freight today that I paid triple the price for. Like, I have one of the Snap-on roll carts. That's where all of my electrical, all of my diagnostic stuff, my Snap-on Vantage, my scan tool, my little tiny U-scope, which is an awesome little thing, all my connectors, spare electrical parts, bulbs, whatever crazy little testing things that I've made. And that cleared up a ton of space in my main box. And if I ever have to do something that's, hey, this is just going to be a diagnostic job, cool. Kick the lock off the wheel, roll it on over.
Yeah.
All the test sleeves, everything there, ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah, I see a lot of them.
Yeah.
Also,
go for it, Eric.
Interesting thought. I've seen it at some farm stores recently. We got cow ranches here in the Utah, Idaho area. Tractor Supplies are nationwide. Sometimes they've got some really nice toolboxes with good, solid drawer pulls and stuff.
Roller
Don't
bearings.
be afraid to go check those guys out. I mean, they've got some really nice toolboxes for some pretty reasonable money. So just throwing that out there because I've seen it and actually thought about it a few times.
Yep, there are other companies. Homac is a toolbox company. Extreme Toolboxes is one. And
Rockin' Toolboxes on Facebook's got some fun ones too. They do scratch and dents pretty regularly.
Yes, they do. They definitely do scratch and dents pretty regularly. And again, if it's a scratch on the back of the box that's going to be against a wall, do you care?
Nope.
I wouldn't. And that can save you 30-40% off the box, depending on, the sale they happen to be running, especially if it's in a hard to sell color like yellow or orange.
I was up in Logan where I had my shops years ago, about 5-6 years ago, and bumped in. I actually looked him up. Don West was my Snap-on guy. He's the guy that got me into Snap-on for being a tech rep. And because he always took care of me. I just thought the guy rocked. And he still remembered the day when I bought a new box, and the second day, it was a Honda. I'd rebuilt the carburetor on it. And, you're supposed to keep them in neutral, and you always check that. And I reached in and hit the key, and there was just enough gas, I guess, in the intake. It took off, and it smashed my lower 2 drawers of my box, and I about cried. And he still remembers that it was still one of those monumental deals. Hey, Marv, you remember that box you ruined?
That's happened. I've seen people almost get crushed by something like that happening to them.
All the time. And you cry when that happens. But
for sure.
Yeah.
My buddy's box, while they were moving it, because of where it was, it would have been really hard to get a flatbed in there to get it out. And wheeling it around because of how the shop was laid out, it was super tight in there. There was really no way to do it. So they were going to lift it up using lift arms in the lift and lower it down into the bed of a pickup truck. And they got about halfway up, and the box just fell off.
Ooh.
And he still has it to this day. But, the corner of it's caved in. His stainless steel top that he had for about 6 months, ruined. But he's still got it, and, because not like you could do much about it except take it to a body shop and have them try to fix it.
What's your favorite electrical tools? Diag tools.
Oh, Diag stuff.
Yeah, because you got to have a separate bunch of tools for that.
So I've got a Power Probe, Power Probe 3, which I love the concept of the tool. I think a lot of people don't know how to use it properly, and I think you have to understand a lot about how electricity works before you should get one. Yeah. And I know a lot of people are just like, oh, whatever, it's just testing 12 volts. Like, that's great. Not everything that you think is on 12 volts is on 12 volts anymore.
Yeah.
And when you press the kill ECM button when you're doing, oh, I'm giving power to it. No, you're not. You just fried a driver somewhere.
Who let the smoke out?
And this is what I call it, because that's like
Yeah.
what I have seen people do so many times just because they don't understand how the circuit functions. And they think, oh, this is a motor, it should do this. And it's like, yes, but it's not actually what you think it is. So I have those. It's a super powerful tool if you know how to use it. The newest version of it, I believe, has a 5-volt setting. So if you are messing around with sensors, you can put it on the 5-volt setting and it won't blow anything up if you accidentally hit the wrong thing.
Cool.
Which,
yeah.
gee, I wonder why they had to make that.
They weren't invested into PCMs.
Yeah. Oh, how many times have
Or they wouldn't have.
Yeah. I got my OTC test light here.
Yeah.
I've got like I said, I've got a Snap-on Vantage. I've got the
Let's throw one at you, Bobby. You got an injector you think's not working. How are you going to test it?
whoa. We're talking about tools here. It's too late in the day for me to do this.
Okay.
No,
If I can get to it, I still love it. Go ahead.
You know, the car running, you think it's not working. I mean, the fastest way to do it, grab a screwdriver and put it to the top of it and see if you hear it clicking.
That works. That works.
At least will start you in the right direction.
Yep.
And it's a bit old school, but I think a lot of people get lost in the electronics and forget there are old school ways of testing things that can get you just a little bit of information to just, all right, maybe I should go in this direction. Maybe I should go in this direction.
Yeah.
You know, a good Noid light set, which you can find them anywhere.
That's my go-to. That's why I asked you, because I have my electrical cart has a Noid light set in it.
For sure.
It's real simple. I know right there, at least that part's working back. Yeah.
Now, these days, when you get direct injected stuff and you have, or even some of the older Asian cars that have the wrap over intakes, like the Nissans and stuff, you might not be able to get in there. Yeah, and then you grab the hammer, and then you start hitting things.
There you go.
And so I am notorious for doing that and actually fixing shit.
Yeah.
Like I have actually walked up and punched things, and they started working. And
fuel pumps mostly.
People are like, you're crazy. I'm like, no, I'm serious. I'm like, watch. I'm like, try to start the car, and it doesn't do anything. And I smack the ignition control module, and it fires right up. I'm like, you just got to carry me around with you. Your car will always run.
You don't fit in the toolbox so good. We got to section you up a little bit.
I gotta lose some weight, you know.
Eric's special tool is the antennas on his head there. He just has to walk up there and picks up all the electrons going through the ECM. Or
you don't need a scope with this on. I tell you what, guys, what you need to do is go to your favorite joke store, pick yourself up a cheap Viking hat, and I promise, you'll feel awesome.
Hey, good morale's always a good thing to have in a shop.
You know what good is life if you're not laughing, really, here.
Yeah. Right? So, Bobby, I asked on the forum there, I was asking what's your favorite set of wrenches?
Snap-on.
Yeah. I am all the way Snap-on wrenches. Sorry, guys. I am. I like them.
Yep. There are certain things that I will always tell people to buy from Snap-on. Ratchets, wrenches, and like mid-length sockets, because no people really make mid-length sockets, and a lot of people don't have them, but trust me, they'll save your life sometimes. Other than that, like their scan tools, good. These days, Autel is probably a better bet.
It is. I think so.
And then, there's laptop-based stuff that you can do if you really, and you especially want to get into programming and stuff like that, which is a whole different discussion to have. But yeah, that's, Snap-on definitely earns its keep in certain areas, and in others, it does not. I don't necessarily think everyone should buy Snap-on screwdrivers. Sometimes they're worth it. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes you'll see a bad batch come out, and you will see the tips break off of them consistently.
Yeah.
And then some people will swear they never have an issue with them.
Yeah.
The newer Snap-on stuff is definitely not as good as the older Snap-on stuff, in my opinion. But there are still, like, you want that solid fitment on a rusty bolt.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
You want flank drive.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. All the way.
But if you don't want to pay Snap-on prices, there are plenty of other companies that make stuff that are like that. Wright, WRIGHT, is a company that also has a type of like flank drive thing. I think they call it Right Grip. There's other ones you can look up. Some of these companies are more on the industrial side of things, and that's why you may have not heard of them. But it would be in your best interest to go out there and look for stuff like Sunex, Tekton, Tekton is another solid brand.
Use them, yeah.
What is some of the other stuff? I'm like, I was gonna write down notes for this so I could be like, yeah, and I can just fire stuff off. And like I told these guys earlier, when it comes to Mac tools, most of their stuff is rebranded other companies. Their knuckle buster wrenches are made by a company called Facom, Facom, I believe. And if you look those up, you can get them for literally half the price, and they're the exact same wrenches. Their power tools are all Stanley. Their batteries interchange, so you don't have to buy the Mac batteries. You don't even really have to buy the Mac tools. And I understand the convenience of it, but how much are you willing to pay for that convenience that you just don't go down to Home Depot or Lowe's and replace something there? Like, that's all my electric stuff is Milwaukee because it works. And I know there are going to be people like Snap-on Electric is the best. In my experience, it's not. That's my experience. You will find a lot of people that Milwaukee has really seen that we as auto technicians have embraced their brand.
Yeah, they have.
Said, hey, we need to get in on this and we need to fully support this. And they are innovating much better than Snap-on is. They are bringing new stuff to market that is fantastic that Snap-on is still lagging behind it.
On that Milwaukee front, I know we've got some mobile guys that swear by the Milwaukee pack-out toolbox.
Yeah.
It's easy. It's convenient. You grab what you need, you go.
Yeah. And where you're a mobile guy, you are, you're acting like a contractor. So anything that has already been out in the plumber and the electrician world to make their mobile lives easier, you can just co-opt for your own. And, that anything you can do to make this job and your life easier while doing this job, go for it.
Well, and here's gonna be the Marv plug. The Marv plug is you can't buy any of this shit if you don't make enough money to buy it. So that's why we got to get your wages up. These guys aren't making enough to do this stuff, and unfortunately, that's what's getting them caught in the trucks. Now, I'll buy stuff off the truck, not a problem. But that's why they're having to finance it and having to do that is because they don't make enough money to buy it, and that's what's putting them behind. I mean, how much do you think you have spent? And maybe it's not spent. How many tools do you think you've bought in the last 3 years that you've had to because the way the industry's changed and you've needed those tools? It doesn't stop.
A fair amount, and especially when they start coming out with something specialty. Like there is I think it's a 22.5 millimeter socket for a Honda rear control arm bolt. Mm-hmm. Somebody can check me on that one, but I know it is a specialty size. And you look at the engineers who designed this and you're like, really, guys? Like you needed to come up with a new size for something. Why? Why is this a thing? And you'll see new types of fasteners. How many of us way back in the day, Allens, Torx, those are your specialties.
Yeah.
Now we have
Torx Plus, Safety Torx.
Yeah, Torx Plus. We've got more Torx. We've got What are the ones that are like they're like Torx, but they're like it almost looks like a saw blade or something. They're curved, like all these different kinds of stuff that's coming out.
See,
Triple squares. There's a type that's only four little blades that go out into something, and I don't remember. It's probably something Euro. But yeah, especially if you're working in an independent shop, you're not working at a dealership where all you're going to work is on Chevy or Honda all day. Your toolbox has to be able to handle whatever rolls in the door, and those specialty tools, woof, that's a lot of money for those.
See,
now,
and that's the case in point. There is that, when we talk about guys buying tools, it's not like you bought these tools 5 years ago and you're still using the same tools.
I mean, I've found some that like I had to buy for one specific job, and I've never used them again.
Me too. I got a couple of those. Still
$60 I had to dump on something.
Yeah.
Like I've got the Mercedes lug nut socket. I think I've used it twice. I think I bought it from AST. Assenmacher is one of those good companies to look at for specialty stuff.
Yeah.
ATD is another one.
Yeah.
But yeah, Astro Pneumatic is another one. Like, who doesn't have an Astro Pneumatic like fuel line disconnect set?
Yeah.
And then actually, that's something that I just popped into my head. The tap and die sets, and I'm not talking about these are less like thread cleaning sets, not
thread
full
chasers.
Tap and die sets. Snap-on sells them, Mac sells them, Cornwell sells them, all under their own name. They are not made by them. They are made by a company called Lang. If you find the Lang version of all of these, it's about 30% of what the name brands cost you. And they are the exact same tool. And when I found that out, I started looking them up, and I'm like, oh, the wheel stud, the thread restorer, it was like, oh, Snap-on wants $200+ for it. It's $59.95.
Yeah. And now I'm going to weigh in on the thread stuff because machinist here, my life revolved around, threads and fabrication. Guys, don't spend your money on the Snap-on taps. Seriously. Greenlee, you want the high-speed steel. You don't want the high-carbon crap. The high-carbon crap, you're going to get in there. It's going to break. You're going to be pissed. We know what happens. You want to go to MSC, Granger, get some real good taps. And when you start looking at taps, you're going to find that there's plug taps, bottom taps, there's spiral taps, and it all depends on what you're trying to accomplish, depends on how the chip comes out. There's some that push the chip ahead of the tap. And if you're doing like an exhaust manifold bolt, that is not what you want because you're going to get to the bottom. You're never going to get to the depth. That's where the plug tap comes in. The spiral taps, I love those things. And if I had my way, that's all the taps I would ever have because the chip comes out as one stringer. It comes out, not in. So, guys, stay away from the toolbox truck taps and dies. Go to MSC. Go to Granger. Find your local machine tool dealer and go get the stuff there. It will be better and it will be cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
So, off my soapbox now. I'll just
that's a huge point is that the industrial side of things, what we deal with on a somewhat regular basis, they may deal with all the time. Yeah. So the R&D that has gone into the stuff they're putting out is more than what the automotive side has put into it. Yeah. It's great place to look for stuff. Snap-on does have an industrial branch. Your average person does not have access to it. Yeah. But if you, would look up something like that on another site, possibly Amazon, you will find stuff by Proto that looks suspiciously like Snap-on stuff that costs half the price. There are lots of things to understand about how tool companies operate and what other tool companies they own and what divisions they have. And once you figure out who owns what and what comes from where, you can start hunting down where these original tools come from before they get the Mac stamp on them. Probably the biggest offender of these are the Mac anti-vibe hammers. They are not made by Mac. They are made by Stanley. You can go to a Home Depot or go on homedepot.com and find them. Their $100 hammers are $20. The exact same thing. It says Stanley instead of Mac. I was beyond pissed when I found that out because I own 2 Mac anti-vibe hammers. And I'm like, hey, why does this look exactly the same as this other Stanley carpenter's hammer that my dad has? And I went investigating, and I found that. And I'm like, right, so they're never getting my money for that again. Like, they put these things up on deals, and they're big and shiny, and they're right there on the truck. They're hammers. You're going to hit shit with them. Yeah. They don't need to be pretty. They don't need to, have somebody's special name on them. They can be Harbor Freight like that orange one right there.
Pittsburgh.
His favorite tool. It's always in his hands. Our meetings and everything. It's married to it.
It is sitting on my cart of Jeremy with all the rest of them. And if you get that joke, you're a Top Gear fan.
I love him. He's great.
Yeah. So
if you watched his Clarkson Farm, you got to watch that. That's really good.
Yes, it's amazing.
But this is why we're here. This is why Mechanic Alliance exists. It's about, like what you've told these guys tonight, about saving money. It's money that goes in your pocket, guys.
Yep. It's money that you can spend to go to training.
Yeah.
Because the most important tool you have is right here.
Yeah. Or don't have is right here. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, if you don't have it, you need to hone it and you need to sharpen it. You sharpen your mind. You make your mind the best tool that it can be. No car will ever defeat you.
No.
Ever. It won't matter that this is a Snap-on, a Harbor Freight, a Husky, a Proto, a Wright, a Craftsman. It doesn't matter.
No.
This is only there to fix what you've already figured out.
Oh, you can do it all with that right there.
No, guys, I am not advocating you go out there and get a Leatherman to fix everything. But I'll tell you what, the number of times that I've had my hand tied up and my needle nose pliers are out of reach, and all you need is just to undo that hose clamp. I tell you what, having a Leatherman in your pocket can get you a long way down the road when you got to have something that'll at least get it done.
For sure. Well, cool stuff.
Yeah.
One other note. Same goes with the tap and die set. Drill bits, same place. Go see the industrial machine tool guys. Or if you guys are looking, message your machinist.
Yeah.
I'm here to help, guys. There's so many things. You got the high-speed steel. You got the carbide. You got the cobalt. What's the right thing to use? For most of what we're doing, high-speed steel. You really want to have some fun? We play with carbide, but it's freaking expensive. And don't break it because it's brittle.
Yep, and it's all knowing what drill bit to use when versus on what kind of material.
Yeah.
And, I'm the first to admit, I have a little Milwaukee set of drill bits that I just use for pretty much everything. But when it comes to like rusted fasteners on exhaust and stuff like that, I just break out the torch and melt the things because I don't have time for that shit.
And I would throw in there, it's not your fault that it rusted and it busted, and there's a charge to extract that part.
Yep.
You never do that for free. It's not your fault. You didn't drive the car for 200,000 miles.
Nope. And you got to charge accordingly. You have to make sure that your time that you are putting into it, and if you're doing manifolds on a Ford or a Chevy or a Dodge, you got to make sure that the time you're charging that is worth the time that you are going to be down working on it. And I know there are guys, especially in the Rust Belt, who have it down to like 20 minutes aside. They're in there. Yep. Like Eric O from South Main Auto. Perfect example. You watch him do manifolds on a truck and you think it was the easiest thing in the world. No, it is not the easiest thing in the world. He has spent hours upon hours upon hours honing his craft. So that way, when it gets in there, he can make money on it. Because the first couple of times you do it, you're not making anything. You're going to be sitting there and you're going to be trying to weld the nut onto it and it's not going to stick. And then you're going to try it another way and it's not going to stick and it's going to break off. And then you're going to have to do another thing. Yeah. And eventually you're going to, you're going to learn how to do it. You're going to learn the, oh, you know what? These nuts don't work as well. I'm going to try a different material. I'm going to try a different hardness or whatever. Or you're going to warm something up a different way and then let it cool and then warm it up and then spray it with cold water and shock it. And, this is all stuff you have to learn. And the tools will help you. Having quality tools is important, but you don't need to get them all right off the bat. You do not need to put yourself another $15,000, $20,000 in debt out of the box. And even if you're in the field for a while, you got other bills to pay, man. You've got car insurance. You got to buy food. You got to, everything else. Spending $20 less for something that might not say Snap-on on it, it adds up really quick.
It does.
Hunting for those deals. Hunting on eBay, Tooltopia, any of the other sites I've babbled off, which if you want, you can message me since I can't post on Facebook right now and give you the list. But
I've been posting links in the comments as we go along for some of these too.
Yeah. I've spent so much time researching this and hunting down tool companies and tool companies that make the stuff that then get put up to a distributor that get rebranded by who knows how many different companies. That Lang thing, those thread cleaners and the taps, they're rebranded by, I can think of 5 different companies off the top of my head. Snap-on, Mac, Cornwell, Matco. All the 5 main tool trucks. And when it comes to stuff, don't sleep on Gear Wrench. Gear Wrench has some good stuff. Gear Wrench,
like mine.
Yep. Cobalt. Yeah, you're gonna have to go to a store to get some of these replaced. Although Gear Wrench does have trucks now in certain places. Yep. Cobalt stuff. Don't sleep on this stuff. Don't think because you have something that's Cobalt in your box that anyone's gonna think less of you.
If you have $12 at Lowe's and I got them on clearance,
that anyone's going to look down on you. Because you know what? Screw them. It doesn't matter. Yeah. You are there to fix cars. You are not there to win a toolbox contest.
Yeah.
Like, you worry about the things that matter. Spend the money on stuff that you're going to use every day and is going to get abused. Ingersoll Rand 2135 Ti? Yeah. It's going to cost you a few $100. Is it worth it? All day long. Just to have a little less weight in your hand every time you have to take a tire off a car. It adds up.
It does.
It really does. But, somebody bad-mouthing you were looking to, what do you got, Harbor Freight stuff? Yeah, I've got Harbor Freight stuff until it breaks. And then I'll start replacing it. And that's another way to do it, guys. You get a cheap set. You get one socket that breaks. Okay. You don't have to go necessarily warranty it. Upgrade it. Instead of going back to Harbor Freight, buy an individual Gear Wrench socket. When all those sets are, that whole set's been replaced with Gear Wrench stuff and the Gear Wrench stuff starts breaking, all right, go upgrade it. Maybe that time, and if you're not abusing your tools, they should last you years. And even these, like, brands like Gear Wrench and Cobalt and Husky and stuff like that, they can last if you treat them right.
Yeah.
And that might be the time where you can save up and then, now I'm going to start buying Snap-on sockets to replace this stuff. And then eventually you'll have a whole Snap-on set. But it won't cost you $500. You can buy them separately. You can buy them used. Who cares if it looks like crap? Does it work? Yes. Excellent. It's going to be covered in grease and oil half the time anyway.
Well, Shane makes a good comment. He says it's not the brand of tools necessarily, it's how you use them to make your money, like we said earlier. It really is. It's about taking care of you, not the tool guy.
Yeah.
It really is. It's about you. You got to take care of yourselves, guys. You've been giving it away for too long, way too long. Times have changed.
Absolutely. Yep. So believe it or not, we're rolling up on the hour mark.
There I go. I just talked for another hour again.
That's okay.
I feel like I'm just taking over. Like, no, this whole thing is all just my opinions.
No, it's good stuff. It's good stuff, Bobby. And that's what we appreciate, guys. And we're always open for anybody that has a niche or has a passion on something to come on here with us and help share it with the group, because that's what it's about. It's about helping each other. We've helped each other with technical forums and YouTube and all of that, but nobody sat down and really talked to some of these young guys and said, hey, I loved your last expression of how you talked about start with the Harbor Freight, and when it breaks, then you upgrade it, because then you're using it more, and then you upgrade it, and then you upgrade it. It gets you started in the right place, and it doesn't cost you an arm and a leg right up front. I helped a guy exit his business 5 years ago because he had left the dealership, went on his own, bought everything there was out there. He bought probably $50,000, $60,000 in tools and didn't make it. And so I helped him shut his business down and get things back to where they needed to be, because he left the state, and he's a trainer now, fantastic trainer. But it was just one of those things. The toolbox guys got the starry eyes in his eyes, thought he had to have all the stuff to open a business. And you don't. I'll tell you right now, I love what Bobby says, and I'm going to pitch it right here again. My certified mechanic. Anybody can out there guess. What do you think I set up? I have a 2018 Hyundai, which I've always had, threw a couple $100 logo on the side. I bought all the tools. We've got all the tools. We figured out to set that up as a mobile business. And I'll give you a little bit of time to just guess in your own mind what you think we spent. And Dave, do you remember what we put into that whole thing? And this is to run a business, no brick and mortar, anything. We're under $5,000, scan tool and everything. Everything we need to go out and work on a car, that's AC tools, that's compressor, that's all this stuff, because we bought it right. And that's what we help our guys with. They might look at it and go, well, it seems, and it's not expensive to join us and do that for what we come and do for you. Half of that cost is for us to come out and spend time with you. But we save you money as we go too. We're not going to say, hey, you need to go ahead and spend $20,000 in tools. We had one of those great owners on the Facebook page recently that you guys are just trying to bury him in this Olympus lending deal. We've talked with the Olympus guys, 10 to 40%. Okay, it's out there, 40%. If you have that kind of credit, then you're going to have to pay that. Get over it, guys. But if you don't, and you have a good rating, 10% to be set up in tools of $5,000 versus going on the tool truck and spending all that more money, you're going to be way ahead. You don't need to spend. We didn't need to spend 15. I could have easily spent $12,000 to set that up. I didn't. I'm not going to. That money's going in my pocket. That's going in your guys' pocket. And that's what we've developed for you. Now I'm off my soapbox, Eric.
Well, it's a good soapbox to stand on. Here, glad you could borrow it. I mean,
thank you,
guys. It's been a fantastic, and really, feel free to reach out to any of us. You got any questions? That's what the group's for. We're developing the community here, so that way we can all ask questions and get the answers that really matter to us. Now, as always, guys, feel free to reach out to us, and if you've got an interesting opinion that you want to share, by all means, let me know. We'll get you on the Tuesday Night Live. We'll have some fun. Bobby, has this been an enjoyable experience?
Definitely.
Yeah. Great. See, right from Bobby's mouth. And so far, we also haven't had any guesses on why his name is F. Bobby.
So I guess you better tell him, F. Bobby.
So I've owned 6 Pontiac Firebirds and a Camaro. And back in the day, I'd be the one that everyone called to come fix their F bodies. So my friend Trish started calling me F Bobby. And
there you go.
I love it. It's a nickname. Sure. I'll embrace it. And it's stuck.
Yeah, it's been great having you on.
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, we need your F body fixed. Go see Bobby. Apparently he's the man who knows. 3rd gen, 4th gen, 2nd gen?
3rd and 4th usually, mainly 3rd.
Wait. Did you have a mullet to go with it?
I'm working on it. I gotta get this cut off. It's getting a little long for me, but it's winter, so it helps just keep this little bit of heat in on my neck. And we're getting snowed on constantly up here. I'm just too damn lazy to go get a haircut.
You long-haired hippie. Anyways,
guys, he'll go to Harbor Freight.
You guys. I can't get that full Marv beard going, so.
But he won't get his hair cut, but he can make it to Harbor Freight to buy that wrench.
Yeah. I needed it.
Priorities.
I need my haircut. I needed to go to Harbor Freight.
Yep.
Needed to get a case to put things in.
There you go. Well, appreciate you, buddy.
So thanks for tuning in, guys.
buddy.
We'll do this again next week. We'll have another amazing Tuesday Night Live. So be sure to join us then. Set it on your calendar because you know this is the place to be on Tuesday nights.
Absolutely.
Thanks again. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.